The old barn was filled with an assortment of mule-drawn farm implements and other tools necessary to the operation of a farm. The loft was filled with hay and some peanut vines in one corner. 2 cribs held the remnants of corn crops of past years. The hallway was littered with corn cobs, old and new. It was in this setting that we passed many hours as boys, waging battles across the void of the barn hall, or raining corn cobs down on unsuspecting visitors to our domain. We would fortify ourselves on opposite sides of the barn, armed with baskets of ammunition. When a head appeared above the hay, corn cobs would come flying out of the loft or a crib at almost the speed of bullets aimed at that head. Cries of pain would often follow such an assault, and the cobs would be returned with equal ferocity. This war sometimes lasted for hours, with both armies advancing and retreating with the military cunning of Patton himself. The old barn and numerous escape passages had secret doors that were a boy's delight and fantasy land. The ladder to the loft was often used, as well as the logs that made up the walls. Sometimes a rope would be swung down to the ground for a quick getaway. It was during one such war that my friend Robert and I were surprised by an unknown assailant that scared the daylights out of both of us. Robert was a close friend who lived about a mile down the gravel road that passed our house on the way to town. Where he once lived is now under about 10 feet of water in the Bay Springs Lake, but that's another story. Robert had ridden his bike to my house early that Saturday morning, as he often did when we were out of school. The barn was a favorite site of operations during these visits, offering many activities and privacy as well. His older brother had come along on this particular morning, but had elected to stay in the house and read. We had collected enough corn cobs each to refight the Battle of Shiloh, and had retired to our respective fortresses to make ready for war. The bales of hay were erected for protection, and the war began. Now, it would depend on whom you were talking to as to who was winning that contest, but I think I had the upper hand at the time. But we soon forgot about who was winning, or even about the war, because in the thick of battle, the old barn began to shake from its foundation to its roof. The battle ceased as we held on for dear life for about 15 seconds. Robert looked at me and I at him, and suddenly it was over. We both hit the ladder and quickly descended to the ground. Now, my dad was off that day, and being a prankster, sometimes I thought he had somehow shaken the old barn. So I hollered for him, "Dad, is that you?" No answer. We set out at a dead run for the house, burst into the kitchen, and there sat Dad in a chair with the radio on, listening intently. The man was saying that there had just been an earthquake of unknown magnitude that had shaken the entire surrounding area. No damages were reported. My dad said he had been sitting leaned back in a chair in the kitchen, and it had shaken him all over the floor. I believed it because that old barn seemed like it was coming down around our ears. The old barn still stands, and some of the corn cobs are still there and indestructible, it seems. My friend Robert moved away after a few years, and water covered his childhood home, but the memories remain even more indestructible than the old corn cobs.